Check 1, 2, 3. This is so weird. All right. Okay, so YouTube has done something where I can no longer control whether or not I go uh, live from the YouTube channel. It's not showing me whether or not I can go live or whether or not I can uh, disconnect it. So this is really scary to me. I don't like it when YouTube does these kinds of changes, but I just got to go with it and roll with it. So I'm going to lower the camera a little bit. All right, sounds better. Looks like you're streaming again. Okay, there's everybody. Everybody's hopping on. Man, thank God for you, Royal We family, and your patience and endurance with me, understanding how these technicalities just really create an issue. Like, I mean, come on, YouTube, who are you to just go ahead and just suddenly change the interface? This is so wild. I should have turned it on a long time ago so I could check it out. But anyways, we're here, and I'm so grateful that we are here and we are together. So let's go ahead and jump right into tonight's conversations, right? Everybody is out of the other one. Only one watching, and that was me. Laugh out loud. Only one watching the other video. Hi, everybody. Hi, Natural Beauty. How are you doing? Hi, Tanya. Hi, Cher Webb. It's good to see you, Glitter Gal. Where's Blue at? I saw Blue on here, and I'm hoping it was the same Blue as before. If it was, she's probably saying, oh, my goodness, I'm disgusted at the fact that these issues still happen, and she's out of here again. Oh, well. Well, hey, we are here together. I'm happy that we're here. I want to go ahead and just dive right in and start answering your questions, things that you guys want to talk about as far as the Royal We community. We are at 9:15, so hopefully let's just get started right into it and find out how your week has been. For those of you who haven't had an opportunity yet to watch the new video, I'm going to be talking about living authentically. D says third time is a charm. It's an old saying. Tonight, definitely the third time was the charm. That's for sure, D. So we're going to be talking about living authentically. So what I posted up about earlier on the Organic Royal We channel is conditional living, how we can get stuck into a conditional living environment. And I do have some questions on text. So I'll go ahead and answer this in a moment. But the videos on the Organic channel, one is about conditional living, understanding how we can get caught up in thinking conditionally at some point in our lives. I relate my idea of conditional living to when I was a child. I did have a mother who was protective, and I also was disciplined. So I didn't grow up entitled. I don't have an entitled mentality of if I don't get my way, I cry, like we often see, especially when we talk about narcissistic abuse. However, I was disciplined, but I also was rescued a lot, but in a way to where it seems like it would be right. So in the video, I talked about how my mother would rescue me when I was younger because I was a child that had ADHD. I still have ADHD. Automatically, when you have empathy and ADHD by itself creates a problem for narcissists. How many of you know this? And that's because narcissists are in such need to be the center of attention that automatically someone with my personality and character traits would be an instant cause them anger in a lot of ways because it's a struggle for me unless I'm really focused and unless it's something that I'm really trying to understand. It's a difficult task for me to focus. Okay. My mind is oftentimes on 20 different things at any given moment. And that's just how I operate. It's taken me a lot to calm down, even to do the Royal We videos, to sit in here and to even make the videos. I'm becoming better and better and better with more practice, as I'm sure some of you can tell. But the reality is there's a lot of takes and retakes of me talking. Oftentimes, I will get distracted by the birds outside or the sound of a car, or the sound of an airplane, and I can completely just lose my train of focus and go to that and think about that and then come right back. So it's getting better, but it caused problems in education for me. So my mother did rescue me. She literally went and really handled a situation with the fourth grade teacher I had. The fourth grade teacher was very much incapable of dealing with students that someone like me who was not able to pay attention fully. And again, when you I don't know how many of you are parents with children who have ADHD, or perhaps you have ADHD yourself. The difficulty in it is being able to retain that attention, and you'll know that it's not that they're doing it on purpose, but someone who is narcissistic can absolutely take it as a slight. They can look at you and say, "How dare you not pay attention to what I just said?" And I had a fourth grade teacher that was absolutely like that and would make an example of me, a fourth grader, um, calling me names, things like that, which is so inappropriate. However, understand narcissism and how they really take it as a slight because they're not able to separate the difference in human nature, even with a fourth grader. Yeah, there are absolutely teachers who are unable to separate the reality that it's a student, it's a child who has his own character and personality. All they see is that child's not paying attention to me. And since that child is an extension of myself and I'm the god of the classroom, then that's actually an attack on me. And that child's doing it on purpose. Therefore, I'm going to punish that child. And I had a fourth grade teacher that was like that, made my fourth grade year a living hell. And after making it a living hell, wanted to hold me back again, simply for the fact that she could not deal with the fact that I struggled to pay attention to her. And by the way, she was really a very boring teacher at that. Very mean, very boring. It was so bad. She wanted to hold me back in fourth grade. My mother literally went to the school and ripped everybody a new one. She had her foot so far up people's asses. There was yelling and screaming and cussing and legal threats. And my mother did a good job of documenting throughout the year, apparently the things that I went home and told her of the names that I was called throughout the year. And I didn't know that. My mom didn't tell me she was doing that, but apparently she had a notebook. I remember when they wanted to hold me back, and she went in there and not only had her foot up everybody's ass, but had all these names and things that the teacher had said to me. And so I was not held back in the fourth grade. Part of the deal was that I was definitely going to the fifth grade, and I never had to deal with Miss West. I almost said her name again. I'm not going to say your name, doggone it. I got to stop doing that. It had an impact on my life, but I never again had to deal with that teacher or come in contact with that particular teacher again. And yeah, thank you. Jill says, yes, I see it. So, but that wasn't the only situation. There was other situations, such as in summer camp, like I shared, where a summer camp leader, one of the youth leaders, also probably noticed my lack of attention, and yeah, I can kind of be all over the place sometimes, and decided to take it amongst himself to call me names and this and that. And once again, when my mom found out, she went right around and put her foot right up the ass of these people. And I understand my mom's perspective, as I'm sure you can too. She felt responsible because I had no choice but to be there. She put me in camp. She paid for it. So she felt responsible. And I get that. So if they're going to mistreat me, then she's going to be responsible and be the one to go up there and put her foot up their ass, which is what she did, and cause some changes. Okay. However, and as much as I agree with that, what I explained in the video, um, what I experienced from that was this false understanding that that things need to be perfect and loving and good for me in order to feel good, in order to feel like I can be myself. And I think that my mother going in and rushing in and fighting for these situations kind of nurtured that idea. And again, I never felt entitled because I was heavily disciplined. When I messed up, I messed up. So I was never a kid that was allowed to get away with anything. I learned early on that I don't call people names. I don't fight. I don't do this. And that was really given to me in my life. But what was also given to me is that things need to be a certain way and people should treat me nicely if in order for me to feel like I belong and feel accepted. And that is a side effect, I believe, of my mother's being protective. The other side effect is that I learned that if I say something to people, hey, you're being unfair and you're treating me bad, then that should work. They should apologize and we should move on and get along. Because when my mom went and put her foot up people's asses, suddenly I got along with people, right? Uh, the other aspect that I learned was that if I can't change it, get someone else like mom. All right. And she would go and put her foot up their ass, and then that would do it. So you could see the three things that I call conditional living. In other words, when I talk about conditional living, it's meaning that you are living and okay and at peace so long as these conditions are met, basically. Narcissistic abuse deals with us in such a way to where we are forced to face it on our own. How many of you have noticed that? You recognize that now in your own life. You've dealt with the narcissistic abuse and nobody came to your rescue. And no matter what you said or tried to change in the situation, you tried to say, "Hey, treat me better." It didn't work. It failed. It went nowhere. So part of the pain is withdrawing and realizing during this time that nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to defend you. No one's going to stand up for you in the situation. And this is actually a good thing that I'm discovering this, because what it's causing is for you to heal you on your own, to face this on your own. And what you're really facing is narcissism. You're facing the ugliness of the world. You're facing the reality that people aren't going to like you simply because of your characteristic traits, simply because of your personality, not because you didn't do anything wrong, right? And there's nothing you can do about that. And the reality is, and this is what my mother didn't help me grow to understand, is that you and we should be perfectly fine with being authentic and being who we are, understanding that it might rub people the wrong way and people will not like us. Period. End. And some of us are saying, yeah, but what about people who are married to us and people who are family members? They're supposed to like us. And I believe now the reality is no. That's part of the education process, is understanding that no, people aren't going to like you. Only when we understand this and we're able to live who we are and be who we are on a continual basis, live according to our moral code and our own values in the face of narcissism, despite narcissistic abuse, despite the wickedness of the world, only then are we living truly authentic lives. And that is when we are blessed. And I'm excited about tomorrow's video because I'm going to finalize the idea of living authentically. And in tomorrow's video that I'm going to publish, I'm going to talk about how you crush narcissism with living an authentic life. So there you go. There you go. There you go. William Freehand says has got his hand raised. Yes, sir. Blue. Now, blue, is this my blue or is this a different blue? I see like a bunch of E's. Blue, if this is you, like the blue that's my blue, not my blue, but you know what I mean, blue, then give me a thumbs up. If it's a different blue, give me a thumbs up anyways. Blue says, my question is, what do I do about my jealousy towards X-Narc's new supply? X-Narc's new supply. I am waiting for them to be so miserable already. I keep blaming myself that maybe I was the weird one. How do I cope? That's an excellent question, Blue. And this is something that I've often thought about myself. This is typical. We see in any narcissistically abusive dynamic, even family dynamics, it's typical that you get rejected and if you are the black sheep or whatever the family, but yet they go to other family functions after you're gone. It looks like they're having the time of their life, and they always showcase that part, right? I want you to keep in mind how narcissism works, and that is that the outside appearance of everything is always good. Even when you first started dating and when you were first in the relationship with the toxic, narcissistically abusive person, everything on the outside on the narcissist world looked great. They were having a good time, and so were you. And because that's what they wanted to show. Now, when narcissistic abuse hit, you were dealing with the real person. And so one of the things to understand is that this new supply is you back in the day. So they are no better than you are. The narcissist doesn't view them as being any better than you. They get the same treatment. They're going to get the same treatment. If anything, you should feel sorry for the new supply, right? So oftentimes we look at the situation and say, what does that person have that we don't have? Absolutely nothing. It's not about that. I mean, listen, I've been doing the royal we for a long time, and I can tell you with certainty that the people I talk with, the people in the community, I see some of the most gorgeous people in the world here in the Royal We community. I mean, absolutely just drop dead gorgeous, not only physically, but as far as personality and as far as just your heart, right? There's absolutely, it is beyond me. It's fathomable, if there is such a word, as to how somebody would reject you, right? So this is what really awakens you to the reality that it does not matter how good looking you are. It does not matter how good of a heart you have. It does not matter. None of this stuff matters. To a toxic narcissist, you have to understand that they are simply jumping from relationship to relationship based on how they're getting their supply, how that ego of theirs is constantly being propped up. So, for the beginning part of their new relationship with their new supply, you hit the nail on the head by calling it supply because that's all it is. The narcissist is enjoying it because right now that person is not caught on to their really ugly, nasty side and it's just giving them supply. But it's inevitable that the narcissist is going to come out, the destruction is going to happen, the cracks are going to show, and that relationship will absolutely fall apart. And if not, that other person who's in the relationship is going to be dealing with a very miserable and happy person because the narcissist is miserable and unhappy. They cannot be ecstatic over the beginning of the relationship forever. They just can't. It's not going to. It's not going to work out. Okay. So understand, don't feel envious of the new supply. It has nothing to do with them or what their abilities or anything. It has everything to do with the fact that the toxic person just needs supply. So feel sorry for the new supply that they're being used in that way. Don't desire the narcissist back because you're just going to get that same thing back again. And you don't want that. You're better than that, right? I know, Blue. I know it's very hard. It's very hard. I know. It's very hard. It's very difficult, and it's real easy to think that uh the other person has something more, and obviously you want to see that relationship end because you don't want to feel like it's you that you were the cause of it. I can tell you right now, Blue, that you weren't the cause of it, right? And with this new relationship, this new person that's going to experience the difficulty of the narcissist, that it's not they're not the cause of it either, right? The toxic person that you've been dealing with is running from relationship to relationship. And I encourage you to watch the video I put out last week about abandoning the relationship, how narcissists use people like rafts floating down a stream. The stream is life, the raft is you, and they're riding you on the stream. Now, they kind of feel safe on your raft, but if they see a branch that looks like it'll get them out of the water, they're going to grab that branch. That branch represents another person, new supply. So they're hanging on that branch. And then that branch might break. They'll fall into the water and look around, and there you are, still floating in life, a raft. And so they'll climb back onto you and ride on with you, and they'll do that until they come across a new branch. This is the life of narcissists. They're always trying to find the safest solution for themselves because they don't have the ability to be authentic. They are living a conditional based life all the time. And since it's conditional, the conditions have to be right. They have to be safe. They have to have supply. They have to feel important. They have to feel needed. They have to feel loved. And this is a requirement, or they simply die. They drowned in the stream of life. Okay. So I hope that this helps you, Blue, to understand. And now let's see if there's another question here. D says, Kevin, can you talk about locust, like the bugs, like the locusts from the locusts out of Revelations? Can you talk about the locus of control, especially for us as empaths? Locus of control is what motivates us. D, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do right now for you. I'm going to look up locus because I have no idea. Locus of control. It is a real word. Blue, D, you are so smart, and I had no idea. So thank you, Dee, for your question. Locus of control is a psychological concept that refers to how strongly people believe they have control over the situation and experiences that affect their lives. So I've got a diagram here. Locus of control says high external locus of control equals more likely to conform. High internal locus of control, less likely to conform. Okay, so it looks to me like locus of control. Okay, so locus of control is degree to which people believe they, as opposed to external forces, have control over the outcome events of their lives. The concept was developed by Julian B. Rotter. Interesting, D. So this happens to fall right in line with what I'm talking about as far as living authentically. So obviously, the more authentic of a life you live, the more you have a high internal locus of control, which means you are less likely to conform to the outside. The more of a conditional lifestyle you are living, which means that the conditions need to be right. People need to treat you right. People need to, in order for you to be at peace, and you need, if you want to be happy, then it needs to be an environment that's safe and that promotes that joy and that happiness. How many of you oftentimes feel that way, right? And I've realized this too. We want to surround ourselves with people who are positive and like-minded, and unless we have those conditions, it's hard for us to be ourselves. So that would be a high external locus of control. And in that conditional living, you are definitely more likely to conform. Why? Well, because it's if you find yourself in situations where you're disagreeable with a lot of people, and you're finding yourself in groups of people where you need the condition of them to be full of joy in order to be yourself, but they're not. If you're not careful, you can slowly start to conform into how they are so you can feel like you belong. Okay. And so that would be a high external locus of control. The internal locus of control is learning how to authentically be yourself. And even in the face of people ridiculing you, criticizing you, demeaning you, devaluing you, you still stand focused, stand on your morals, stand on your values, stand on your principles. I would say, and this is in tomorrow's video, by the way, that I'm going to upload, but I'm going to use this example. The best exemplary example that embodies a high internal locus of control would be the ancient literature of Jesus, the story of Jesus, because you have this writing that indicates Jesus had a purpose, a mission, and did he not carry this mission out even in the face of people, of Pharisees and Sadducees, of high priests, of Romans, of Hebrew people, of Greek people who would ridicule him, criticize him, spit on him, accuse him, you know what I mean? And ultimately arrest, beat him, and kill him. Yet he never once changed to conform to their ideas, right? And part of what really, excuse my language, but pissed off the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Romans and the Greeks in the literature, the ancient literature, it doesn't come out and say this, but the reason they became so angry and grew so angry to the point of wanting to destroy Jesus is because they could not control him and Jesus would not conform. And what you're going to find out about narcissists is they will hate you because you do not conform to what they want, right? This is the story of me and the fourth grade teacher. There I am, a fourth grade student. I have ADHD. I'm my own individual, my own character. And by the way, ADHD back at that time was also, like I think I said this in the video, but they're rounded up and given drugs because they're problematic. When it's not problematic, it's just how our mind works. This was a problem for the fourth grade teacher. She hated the fact that she could not have control over me. And there's teachers that demand to be controlling in their environment. It's their classroom. They are God, and they want to be in control. And if they can't, it drives them nuts. So you can see how the Pharisees and the Sadducees at the time of Jesus, who were the religious leaders, they hated the fact that Jesus was teaching and preaching and healing and doing these great things. And every time they said something, you're this, you're a liar, you're doing works of the devil, Jesus would say, no, I'm not. Here's the they couldn't control him. They could not box him in. And narcissists hate that. The world hates that. The world views that as rogue. So the more internal locus of control you have, the more rogue you seem to a very narcissistic world. You follow me on that? Hopefully that makes sense to you. Now I'm going to go ahead and check a see if we have a question here. Telephone question. All right. I do have a question from a text, and so I'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. Natural Beauty asks, am I taking telephone calls? I'm not taking telephone calls tonight. For those of you who don't know the story, technical issues, man. So for those of you who don't know the story, I dropped my phone in a lake, not this past weekend, but the weekend before that, and it sank to the bottom like a rock. Lost my phone, the phone that I did the show. So I got a brand new phone. Here it is, right? It's an iPhone. I like Apple products. I do all my stuff here on Apple products, and this is an Apple iPhone 7, by the way. So I don't get the new ones. I don't have that. I'm not out there to spend $1,000 on iPhone 12, 12s or whatever they're at. So this is an old iPhone 7. It has no audio output. So they made these phones beginning with iPhone 7 with you have to have some kind of weird adapter to even get audio out. So I did not get all the pieces put together yet to take phone calls. But next Monday night I will be taking the live phone calls just to give you a heads up. So I will be taking phone calls next week live. But for tonight, you can text in your phone calls. And so I do have a text. Here's a text. I moved away from family of origin 7 years ago. Congratulations, by the way. And the rest of them live within a 5-mile radius. All right. Alcoholic dad, might have been set up. Narcissistic Catholic mother, very angry, went no contact. How's it going? Older brother, the golden child sent me a friendly text. Hey, man, how's it going? Hope you were well. How I want to respond is this. You hope I'm well? When I was abused by dad in the past, you didn't care at all. Neither did mom. Do you expect me to believe you? I want my privacy and space and will appreciate it if you leave me alone. Don't try to contact me again, please. Respect my wishes. But I know he'll go right to my mom with that and will cause more drama. I'm feeling confused and angry and have never gone no contact with my brother before, but maybe I should. Do you have any suggestions? Thank you, Kevin, and the Royal We family. Excellent, excellent question. So what I understand is that you're in a very dysfunctional, toxic family. You broke away from the family, and you are trying to find your peace as an individual. Your brother's contacting you, saying, hey, how's it going, man? And inside, and I take it you did not send that message yet, which is good. I'm glad you didn't send the message yet. Or did you? Let me see if it says you sent the message yet. Very angry, and I went no contact their time. My older brother, the older, how I want to respond. Okay, so you didn't respond yet, and that's good. So what I would tell you is this. Don't respond with that at this point because it will invite drama. It will invite an argument. It will invite all this messy stuff. What I would do, first and foremost, is if you're really in a bad spot, you don't want to talk to your brother and you're going no contact with your brother, don't even respond to that because it's an attempt to engage and you don't want to go there. If you do have a good relationship with your brother and you're only trying to go no contact with your parents, then I see nothing wrong with telling your brother, I'm well. Thank you for asking. Period. End. You don't have to go into any great detail. You don't have to say, leave me alone and blah, 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 right? You don't have to say I'm doing okay, but this and that. Just say I'm doing very well. Thank you. Period. Right? And then that puts the ball back into his court if he wants to pursue anything. Well, mom and dad were, talking about you. And then you can get into possibly, well, listen, I don't want to talk about mom and dad. I'm kind of done with that whole situation. I'm at peace. I'm trying to find my way, my purpose, my life. So I hope you can respect that. Thank you. Okay. So if you see how that was just handled, the way in which I put it out there, it wasn't in a way that showed anger and animosity. You do not want to show your anger and animosity in the situation because that will invite drama. And that's what they want. Okay. If they know that you're angry and upset and full of animosity, they win. They're able to engage with you. They're able to point you out and say, look, he's angry. He's a bad person. What a terrible son. And it finishes that cycle. Okay. However, if you're short and sweet and to the point, I'm good. I'm great. Thank you. I'm finding my way in this life. But at the same time, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to get involved in that drama. Please keep it away from me and my personal space, right? Away from my personal space. I don't want anything to do with that. Um, Sorry for all the hand gestures there, right? Just trying to, you can envision your space. But if you do that in a healthy way, you will diffuse them. You won't give them any reason to point at you. They're still going to point at you because they're toxic. They're still going to say, "Oh, our son is out there and he doesn't talk to us anymore." But at least you'll have the comfort of knowing you're not engaged in some drawn out, weird, dramatic battle that's wasting your mental and emotional well being because that's what you want to avoid. So, how can you possibly waste your emotional well being if you are just being straight to the point saying, I'm good. No, I don't want to talk about that. All right, peace out. Deuces. I got to go to work. Goodbye. Leave it at that. Right? Hope that that makes sense. Hope that this makes sense to you. Natural beauty. Look at Kevin showing off. You like that? That personal space. All right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this evening. Thank you, Dee, for saying hit that like button. I'm so happy that you all joined me tonight despite the technical difficulties. I'm going to do my best to work these issues out. It seems like YouTube makes these upgrades and changes from time to time, and I've got to stay on top of it. So what I will do is try to work out that particular issue so it does not happen again. Hopefully, we won't have the choppiness again. We'll be able to run smoothly next Monday night at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And also, be sure to join me Saturday morning. Saturday morning, I don't seem to have these issues with Royal We Fellowship, right, Dee? So join Dee and myself every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. For Royal We Fellowship. It's an in-depth Bible study where we are looking at the Word of God, the Bible, from the perspective of understanding that the world is toxic and very narcissistic. So it's unlike any other Bible study that you've been a part of. I guarantee you that. And it's a great time. It's a great fellowship. It's something that I am looking forward to growing and learning from myself. So Saturday morning, 9:00 a.m., Royal We Fellowship. You can find the link to this in the description box down below. It should be there. And with that, I will be back next Monday night right here on Royal We Live Chat. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.